Hmm.
Okay, welcome. Can you hear us okay? If you can, please put yes in the chat for me. I always like to make sure that you can hear us before we get started. Maybe not. Okay, good. So welcome. I'm Ann Griesel with Biology IT, and this is
I'm Sarah Carney. I'm a front-end developer with Ann.
So we're going to talk to you today about tables. So before we start talking about tables, we would like to request that you mute your microphone so I can hear a little bit of feedback coming in from somewhere. So if you could please mute your microphone, that would be great. And let's see if I can find anybody. Okay, we're good. Then, please don't use video. Like I said every time, we might do it in the future, just not today. Also, ask questions in the chat. So if you could please ask questions in the chat, that would be great. We do have a couple developers standing by that are not on screen, off screen, and can help answer those questions. We'll give a short presentation today. I think it will be fairly quick, but it's really fun, and so hopefully it'll be a little bit inspiring as you continue to edit your sites. And then we'll be open for questions, so you can ask us any questions that you might have. And also, just to show a little bit about who we are Biology IT. You can visit us at biology-it.iastate.edu to learn a little bit more about our team. We created a Drupal platform, essentially, so that it makes it much easier to stand up websites for academia use with many features that you'll enjoy, like anything from news and events to like podcasting and videos. We have a luggage showcase that shows you some of the sites that have been done in the platform on campus. There's many groups on campus using this platform, including not just our group. So we share our code, and we're excited to collaborate with a lot of people. So we have websites available for you to look at, so you can see some that might be similar to yours. If you are for example, center or institute, and you would like to see some other center or institute sites, or you'd like to see other lab sites, you'll be able to filter by that. Also, you can visit the luggage feature examples page that will show you some examples that we are showcasing of some of the features that we have. And also, Sarah and I really like to promote here at the Biology IT team, keeping our sites accessible. And so we want to make sure that we are inclusive to all that we can be and continue that endeavor. So Digital Access is the website that's managed and maintained by Zaira Jordan, who's our web accessibility coordinator on campus. So we encourage you to check that out as well. All right, let's talk tables. Finally. So we've introduced ourselves, you know who we are. And next, we'll walk through an agenda. It's pretty straightforward today. We will show you an online tutorial link, and then Sarah's going to show a little bit about how you can edit your tables to have headers on them, and what it looks like in mobile.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then we'll do an example of a live table that's currently live, that's big, and it has a lot of things in it, and can be kind of a fun example so you can see what's possible. All right. So with that, I am going to walk this little website over here. So hopefully you can all see this. I am on the luggagedocs.iastate.edu website, and you can find the tutorial on tables by going to the user guide and tutorials and finding tables in this list, and then clicking on tables. Or you can just go to luggage. Once you're at luggage dock, you can just type in the word tables singularly, and that will take you to this page as well. But I just wanted to give you that resource so that you have it. And John Rick is our developer off camera, and he is putting all these links in the chat for you so you can find those there. Now, I think we are going to pull this over to demo, actually. And I'm going to let Sarah take it away. So we've got some example tables here, and you can click the edit button. Yep.
So depending on the type of data you want to present in your table, we usually really want to label that information somehow. So our most basic table has no headers. This data really doesn't have a lot of relationship to each other. So I might want to give it table headers. This helps both visually for visual users, and screen readers will also be able to understand how to read a table, especially if the headers are properly marked. So I already have a table. I right-click anywhere in the table. The pop-up gives me the table properties option at the very bottom. When I click that, I can now edit some of my table properties. And what I want to change is where the headers are. So I want to make that first row headers. So I'm going to change it from none to first row and hit save. And so now not only has my first row become styled to look like a header, on a code background for screen readers, it also will sound like a header. We can change it to a couple of different ways as well. Perhaps our data is more appropriate with the headers on the far left column. So we can select first column. Or maybe we have data that's complex enough where we want two different header relationships. And so I'm going to select both, meaning that both the first row and the first column contain headers.
Yeah, it's pretty slick, and it works pretty fast. And as you can see, Sarah's already incorporated the styling for you. So once you do that, visually, your table is going to already have style that you know follows all the accessibility guidelines.
Yeah. Anything to add?
Oh, I think that's great.
Great.
So now, what Sarah's been working on and has improved the platform is the fact that before, it was very difficult for tables to be viewed on a mobile device. And so if you, we can show an example of that, and Sarah can walk us through that.
Right, so when our screen starts to narrow, we stop losing horizontal space, and things either get really smushed or they start running off of the edge, but we really want to make sure that those data relationships continue to be visible on all types of screens. So one example, so here's an example of that, seeing tables on mobile. So when the screen gets narrow enough, rows and columns become all one column, but we still see some visual indication of how the data is grouped. So fruit and vegetable used to be in the top row, but we continue to associate each row with its data. And this is handled automatically. You don't need to set anything up. So as soon as you organize your tables in the correct way, when someone gets on a mobile device, they'll be well organized for you. We have a great big massive table at Hardware Research IT that is kind of a beast. Like this is a huge table. Normally this would be really upsetting on a mobile device. It has images, many rows, many columns. But with our responsive tables in luggage, we can still browse that table and understand how the data is associated with each other. And again, we didn't have to do anything special for that. We just made our table, and luggage handled the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I said, we're going to be short and sweet today, but also fun. So hopefully that was fun for you to see and know what's coming for you if you don't have this yet. But anyone that has, I think the latest release should have this. So you're in good shape. Are there any questions that anybody has about tables at all? No? Also, are there any questions in general? If you have questions in general about your website, for something that you're working on that Sarah and I can help address, we'd be happy to do that today, and others can also learn from you. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. We can help answer those questions for you. Okay. So the important thing to remember is that if you already have a table on your website that you need to edit, that you can edit it by selecting edit, and then you can go down to the, here we go. I'm on my local machine, so sorry. If you right click on that table, that's where you're gonna actually get all of these table properties, and you can change where your headers are. Some people ask me oftentimes, how do I add another row or add another column, because I didn't realize I could do these headers and now I can. So you can right click on any row. So for example, I right clicked on this first row, not the header row, but the first row underneath. And I can say, I would like to add a row either before or after the one that I'm clicked on. So I can insert a row before, or I can right click on the row and insert a row after. So I was clicking on these rows and it gave me a new space to write. Also, I can go to this row and say delete the row, and it will delete the row. So that's another way. And columns work the same. You can insert a column before or after where your mouse is clicked. So you can insert a column before, which will add a column here in the middle. Or if I click in this box and say column, insert column after, you can insert a column after. So that may help as well. Alrighty, well.
We have a question.
Yay, we have a question. How do I put a next page button at the top of a page, such as a directory page that only has it on the bottom? Oh, so I think in Luggage, it's hard to know exactly what you're referring to there. If you can send us a URL, that would be helpful. But in Luggage, there's a couple ways that we have a previous and next button. One, you see a previous and next button on our tutorial pages. So if we go to this Luggage site here, and we go to tutorials, you're going to be able to see that when I click on something at the bottom, I can go, that's the long one. I can go to the next one or the previous one, or I can just go up to the previous page that I was, page that I was on. This is because it's a specific book module that we're using, and I haven't seen a whole lot of people use that, but if you would like to, it would just take a little bit of training. We also have on people pages, for example, let's see. We may not have that on ours. Of course not, right? Let's do, yeah, we can go to people here. So there's a lot of people in this department. I don't want you to get dizzy. But you go to the very bottom, and you can click next, or go to page 2. And remember that you can always do a search. So if you're looking for someone specifically that you know of, it's usually best to just do a search.
Can I clarify the question in chat? You said that an up button would be great too. Are you looking to see pagination at the top and the bottom, and then at the bottom a whoop back to top button? Yes, cool. I don't know that as content editors you have that ability to move that around, but if you talk to us and you have a Luggage site, we can definitely help you find a solution for that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think you're right. Once you scroll all the way down, I really enjoy the zoom of flying back up.
Yeah. Cool. Are there any other questions? Okay. Alrighty. Well, With that, I hope you have a good rest of your week, and we enjoyed talking with you today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Next time, in fact, we can go to look at that. I will go to Luggage Docs. If you go to events on Luggage Docs, you can see what we're going to talk about next. So we're talking about tables today, and next week or next month, we're going to talk about project promotion and how to promote your projects. So that will be a topic that I think a lot of people have been asking about in terms of doing that easily. So we have a module that we can show you. We also have a couple different ways to do that. So if you're especially working with faculty that have projects that they want to promote, that will be great to sit in on so that you can help them to do that. All right. Thank you for joining us. I think we're going to sign off.
Thank you.
Have a good day.